Okay, RL 10-5, mystery, tension, and surprise. Let's do this. Okay, RL 5 says analyze how an author's choices concerning how to structure a text, order events within it, and manipulate time create such effects as mystery, tension, and surprise. So the key terms here is mystery, which is anything that is kept a secret or left unexplained. Suspense is a feeling of anticipation. Tension is strain or tense feeling, and surprise are startling events of a story. So, to explain this standard, we're going to use The Most Dangerous Game by Richard Connell. The main character, Rainsford, is a professional hunter on his way to hunt jaguars in the Amazon. During the night, he and his friend are chatting on the deck of the boat. One of the topics of their discussion is Ship Trap Island. After his friend turns in for the night, Rainsford hears a gunshot in the distance. He jumps on the edge of the boat, drops his pipe, reaches for said pipe, and falls off the yacht. The place has a reputation, a bad one. Cannibals? Suggested Rainsford. Hardly. Even cannibals wouldn't live in such a god-forsaken place. But it's gotten into sailor lore somehow. Didn't you notice that the crew's nerves seemed a bit jumpy today? They were a bit strange, now you mention it. Even Captain Nelson. Yes, even that tough-minded old Swede, who'd go up to the devil himself and ask for a light. Those fishy blue eyes held a look I never saw there before. All I could get out of him was, "This place has an evil name among seafaring men, sir." Then he said to me very gravely, "Don't you feel anything?" As if the air about us was actually poisonous. Now, you mustn't laugh when I tell you this. I did feel something like a sudden chill. There was no breeze. The sea was as flat as a plate glass window. We were drawing near the island then. What I felt was a mental chill, a sort of sudden dread. What parts of this excerpt create mystery or tension? Okay, so the details that create mystery and tension is like the unknown details of the island create a mysterious feeling surrounding the island. Even cannibals wouldn't live in such a godforsaken place. The crew's reactions to the island, how they were a bit jumpy, and even Captain Nelson, who was this big tough guy, he was a little nervous. And the atmosphere that the author created, don't you feel anything as if the air about us was actually poisonous? And I did feel something like a sudden chill. These details portrayed the development of mystery and tension in the exposition of the story. And exposition is just a fancy word for the beginning of the story. Once Rainsford was overboard, he heard another sound. Rainsford heard a sound. It came out of the darkness, a high, screaming sound, the sound of an animal in an extremity of anguish and terror. He did not recognize the animal that made the sound. He did not try to. With fresh vitality, he swam toward the sound. He heard it again, then it was cut short by another noise. Crisp, staccato. "Pistol shot," muttered Rainsford, swimming on. Okay, so we've already mentioned that he's a professional hunter. So how is he a professional hunter and doesn't know what kind of animal that made the sound? Boom, mystery. No, I'm just kidding, but really, how it obviously creates mystery and tension because he should know. If he's a professional hunter, he's hunted many animals throughout his life. So how is there this new animal that, he's never heard before? Anywho, moving on. Rainsford makes it to the shore and falls asleep from exhaustion. When he wakes up, he realizes that it is late in the afternoon and he is starving. Naturally, he assumes the gunshots mean men and those men must have food, so he goes in the direction of which he heard the shots. After walking through a very dense forest, he comes up to a very large mansion. Now, why might that be mysterious? Oh, I don't know, because there's this spooky island in the middle of the ocean, and it's all scary, and everybody's afraid of it, and there's this huge house in the middle of the island, and what in the world is it doing here? Who lives there? Bleak darkness was blacking out of the sea and jungle when Rainsford sighted the lights. He came upon them as he turned a crook in the coastline, and his first thought was that he had come upon a village, for there were many lights. But as he forged on, he saw to his great astonishment that all the lights were in one enormous building, a lofty structure with pointed towers plunging upward into the gloom. His eyes made out the shadowy outlines of a palatial chateau. It was set on a high bluff, and on 3 sides of it cliffs dived down to where the sea licked greedy lips in the shadows. Now, what makes this mysterious? The first of all, that the house is on this creepy island, and second of all, that it's this huge fancy mansion. It's very mysterious. How did it get here? Who built it? What's going on? Why are they here on this, supposedly scary island? And how did they get here? What are they doing? When Rainsford knocks on the door, it is answered by a very large man holding a pistol at Rainsford's chest. The door opened as suddenly as if it were on a spring, and Rainsford stood blinking in the river of glaring gold light that poured out. The first thing Rainsford's eyes discerned was the largest man Rainsford had ever seen, a gigantic creature, solidly made and black-bearded to the waist. In his hand, the man held a long-barreled revolver, and he was pointing it straight at Rainsford's heart. Out of the snarl of beard, 2 small eyes regarded Rainsford. "Don't be alarmed," said Rainsford, with a smile which he hoped was disarming. "I'm no robber. I fell off a yacht. My name is Sanger Rainsford of New York City." The menacing look in the eyes did not change. The revolver pointed as rigidly as if the giant were a statue. He gave no sign that he understood Rainsford's words, or that he had even heard them. He was dressed in uniform, a black uniform trimmed with gray astrakhan. "I'm Sanger Rainsford of New York," Rainsford began again. "I fell off a yacht. I am hungry." Okay, so character interaction is one way an author may create tension. Though the man that answered the door does not appear tense, Rainsford and the reader can most definitely feel the tension. The man is doing his job. He knows what he's supposed to be doing. He knows that some unknown person has come to the house in the middle of the night and he's protecting his area. Well, for Rainsford, it is very tense and it's very alarming because he's just trying to survive at this point, and this guy is holding him at gunpoint, and that's very tense and terrifying. So, just to recap, we have fallen off a boat near a creepy island, fought for our life in the dangerous sea at night, and made our way through woods to find a big man to hold us at gunpoint. But wait, it gets better. So, Ivan, the big man that answered the door, calms down when his boss, the owner of the mansion, comes into the picture. General Zaroff recognizes Rainsford right away and apologizes for Ivan's behavior. General Zaroff is this super fancy guy, okay? He listens to fancy music, smokes fancy cigarettes, and drinks fancy wine. Wow, what a guy. So, the general invites Rainsford in, gives him clothes, and feeds him dinner. While they're eating, Rainsford is both intrigued by the general's fanciness and creeped out. A quote from the story says, "He was finding the general a most thoughtful and affable host, a true cosmopolite. But there was one small trait of the general's that made Rainsford uncomfortable. When he looked up from his plate, he found the general studying him, appraising him narrowly." Does this create tension? Because when someone is staring is creepy and unsettling. This detail gives the story both tension between the characters and suspense. Suspense? But why, you say? Because doesn't it make you wonder what in the world is going on with this guy? He lives on this scary island that people are afraid of. He's built this huge mansion, and he is staring at you while you're just trying to eat your dinner. What is going on with this guy? So just based off, the character's actions, the author is creating the tension and suspense to keep you engaged and make you want to read more, because we want to know what's going on with this guy. So Rainsford, like we said, is a famous hunter. And Zaroff begins to tell Rainsford how he recognized his name. Zaroff, whose house is decorated with every animal you can imagine, is an avid hunter as well and has read all of Rainsford's books on hunting. He tells Rainsford about the best hunting he does on the island, but first he goes on and on about his life story and how he came about the island. So basically, this guy's been hunting since he was born. Bored? Zaroff expresses to Rainsford that he became bored with hunting because he was so good at it that there was no thrill for him anymore, which saddened him because it was his favorite hobby. This inspired his move to this island where he has invented a new animal to hunt. But the animal, General Zaroff? Oh, said the general. It supplies me with the most exciting hunting in the world. No other hunting compares with it for an instant. Every day I hunt, and never grow bored now, for I have a quarry with which I can match my wits. Rainsford's bewilderment showed on his face. I wanted the ideal animal to hunt, explained the general. So I said, what are the attributes of an ideal quarry? And the answer was, of course, it must have courage, cunning, and above all, it must be able to reason. But no animal can reason, objected Rainsford. Rainsford's reaction creates tension, but why? Rainsford's bewilderment showed on his face. Rainsford is figuring out more about General Zaroff. He's figuring out that he's not the best guy to be hanging out with, and he's kind of panicked. When you're bewildered, you are, you're scared, you're worried, you don't know what to do. So he's showing that. The author is portraying the tension and the mystery and the suspense through Rainsford's actions. So, this ideal animal. My dear fellow, said the general, there is one that can. But you can't mean, gasped Rainsford. And why not? I can't believe you are serious, General Zaroff. This is a grisly joke. Why should I not be serious? I am speaking of hunting. Hunting? Good God, General Zaroff, what you speak of is murder. The general laughed with entire good nature. He regarded Rainsford quizzically. I refuse to believe that so modern and civilized a young man as you seem to be harbors romantic ideas about the value of human life. Surely your experiences in the war did not make me condone cold-blooded murder, finished Rainsford. Okay, here's the surprise. Surprise! On this creepy island is a crazy man that is hunting humans. Animals cannot reason, only humans can, so in order to create a hunt that will entertain Zaroff to his liking, he is hunting the only species that can reason. Why is this surprising? Zaroff is very educated and lives a rich man's life in this mansion. From this, you would not expect him to be a murderer. You would expect, some uncivilized person or, species to be hunting each other and hunting humans, not a very educated, well-rounded man that Zaroff, seems to be at this point in the story. He has this fancy house and all these fancy things and is very educated, and it seems like he would be, this great guy. Well, he most definitely is not. So that is a big surprise that he has developed into this villain. So what happens next? I would like you to visit this website to finish the story. Because I wanted the ending to be a surprise. Hint, wink wink, because this lesson is on mystery, tension, and surprise. So check out this link to see how it ends. Thanks, guys.